It's day 2. It is about 9 in the morning, and I'm gonna go get this sleepy fella some breakfast. So this is it, a Twoesome place. My original thoughts that this was a cute little local cafe was incorrect. It is a very big Korean chain. I think they have around 1,600 stores actually throughout Seoul. So it's probably more equivalent to a Starbucks over here. But it was very cool. Like everywhere they had these little machines where you can change the language, which is much appreciated. I think the general gist of the store, it's actually more of a cafe cake shop. I realized upon going inside, but what we'd seen from the outside was that they had egg sandwiches, which is more of a Breaky vibe and what I wanted to try. So we're not getting coffee nor cake, what this place is known for, but that is okay. Sandwich in hand, I am ready with my bribery to get Cobb out of bed. And I actually picked up something else there. So we got our 2 sandwiches, and I saw they had a salt bread, which we haven't had yet, and is supposed to be quite big throughout the area. So we'll give it a go. The sandwich was pretty good, like nothing crazy, but it was delicious. And I didn't take any more videos of salt bread because we wolfed it down, but it was not bad either. Success! The boy has evacuated the building. Let's get out of here. Let's go! You've probably seen in the title, but just in case you don't know where we're going today, let me give you a little hint. And it goes something like this. Whoop, 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 whoop. Can you guess? I've got to say, the subway in Seoul is absolutely phenomenal. I know a lot of people do take the option of booking Kakao cabs or Ubers because it is affordable enough to do that. I still think the subway is worthwhile, and with the T-Money card, every trip is like $1, and the max your journey is going to be is like 20 minutes. They're not difficult to get around at all. It's a very simple, easy to follow system, and what really floats my boat is that everybody follows the rules, everyone is respectful. It's just a really nice place to be, and I was really vibing with being on the subway. It's very likely that one of the first things you'll see when you arrive in Gangnam is the Starfield Library, which is one of the most famous spots and a huge tourist destination in the area. Essentially, it's a giant public library built inside the COEX Mall. Something I read which is pretty wild, so this was only actually built in 2017, I believe, and it already overtook stats as the most photographed thing in Seoul. Cherry blossoms and apricot blossoms, you eat your heart out. If you have a bit of a cooked brain like me and tend to overthink things, you might be wondering, how does one actually borrow a book out from this public library? That is usually the primary purpose of a public library, right? Well, it's a little bit different in this case. You can't actually borrow physical books out from the Starfield Library. It is primarily a place to read in, but technically speaking, you cannot take these books home. And while there are apparently around 50,000 books on the shelves here, they're primarily serving curated art. They're giving art, they're not giving education. Rumour has it, many of the books on the top shelves, the high shelves, the out of reach shelves, and I'm a small gal, so that's a lot of books, are fake. They're a little scam, they're a little swindle, they're a little optimization for the eyeballs only. They are not real books at all. And while I find this fact very strange, I certainly can't be mad at a place that exists for quiet, for relaxation, and for appreciation of books. Another hugely popular tourist attraction in the Gangnam area is the massive Gangnam Style Psy hands, which are actually a lot bigger than I was expecting. You know, you see pictures of them and it just doesn't quite encapsulate how large they really are. South Korea has such a huge cultural and creative influence on the world, and that's only made stronger due to things like BTS and the BTS Army, K-pop Demon Hunters, Squid Games, Rosé, K-dramas, solo leveling. There's so many things that are drawing people into the culture of South Korea. But what really started it all was this silly little song, Gangnam Style, and Psy putting South Korea on the map for a global audience. Like, this was all the way back in 2012, and for a lot of people abroad, people living in Australia like me, this was the first I'd ever even heard about South Korea. This is the first I knew of its existence. And for that, it felt strangely important to come here and, you know, just resonate with that for a second. Just a short walk down the road, we found Bongeunsa Temple, which stands in absolutely complete contrast to the huge shopping centres, the skyscrapers, and the feeling in general of Gangnam. Just through the entrance, we were met with this incredible display of coloured lanterns, and it just had such a wonderful feeling, a really stark contrast to what we just experienced in the bustling city part. I think this was an early setup for Buddha's birthday, which is in May. I'm not too sure. I read something about this entrance part being called the Canopy of Light, which is very sweet. But yeah, it was just wonderful to walk into this and experience such a different feeling. Right in the center of what felt like such a commercialized area. It feels like you've just walked through a gateway, through a bridge to this really serene and spiritual place. This temple is about 1,200 years old and gets approximately 1,000 tourists every single day. The primary drawcard is the 23-foot tall Buddha. For us though, before we even found the Buddha, we were so enamored by these incredible roof paintings. I think it's called Dancheong. Hopefully I'm not butchering that too badly, but it's a traditional type painting that is done to coat the wood, so it's actually supposed to protect the wood from the natural elements and things like that. Oh man, and just as you walk up to this, 23-foot statue, it's kind of overwhelming. It really is. No matter what your belief is, no matter what religion or spiritual thoughts you have, there's something that strikes you when you're here, and it's quite difficult to describe actually. Both Cobb and I were sort of overwhelmed with feeling here, and I think it has something to do with just being surrounded by people that are praying, worshipping, asking for something. There's people that you can tell are clearly going through struggles. There's people that seem happy, that are maybe asking for that happiness to continue. Yeah, it's just, it's a lot. And if you are someone like me that's, maybe close to losing somebody in your life, it's a nice place to come and, think about them and maybe ask the gods to look down on them and look after them in the next life. After a big morning and a lot of quiet contemplation, it was time to bring the vibes back and fill up our tummies. We decided to check out this traditional soup place I had been eyeing off called Jang, which was back in Myeongdong. This is a very specific Seoul style soup. The base is very deep and it's got a milky color to it. It's like a slow cooked, simmered broth. I think they cook it over 48 hours and it's just, oh my God, it's just so comforting. It became pretty much the main meal that I think about now that I've returned home from Australia. I dream about it. I miss it. I want it back in my life. I didn't say the most important thing in that it's an oxbone soup, so that is the base. It's very hearty. It's got like I guess kind of like that glistening fat that you feel on your lips as well when you're eating it. And when it comes, it's completely unseasoned, so they give you the option to add your salt levels, your pepper levels, and it comes with both noodles and rice, which is so wild. I didn't have this anywhere else in Korea, and it felt like a really advanced congee. Like the rice was so nice, and then having the noodles as well. It's like, man, you didn't even make me pick. You just gave me the best of both worlds. You've made me so happy. A lot of the restaurants around Myeongdong that target tourists do have oxbone soup on the menu, and we tried a couple through our time, but this one was a huge highlight, and it was only 14,000 won, which is equivalent to about $14, and man, huge serving, like absolutely a feat of your life. Like this made me feel full, but not in a bad way. Like I just felt so happy leaving there. I was honestly beaming. I'm salivating watching this back in the edit. Honestly, this was a 10 out of 10 meal. Probably a good time to say they actually do have a few branches. So if you're ever near Eldro, I think that's actually their main branch. This is a more offshoot one. But yeah, they've been around for 50 years or something. I think it's quite a staple with locals in the area. But yeah, it absolutely slaps. You got to try it. After our food fuel, we are jumping back on the subway to go to Itaewon. We're giving the T-Money cards another run and jumping on the subway, which is my new favorite activity. And we arrived in Itaewon, I think it was about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I can't lie, guys, it was a bit of a shock. Turns out when people say Itaewon is a nighttime location, that is 150% accurate. There is not a lot going on here in the day. I think there is maybe a museum and a few other things which we didn't do. But yeah, it's just a bit of quiet walking around without that. So yeah, I think 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, that's sort of when you want to be in Itaewon. There's a place coming up on the right that we went to for dinner, a Mexican place, and it's just so crazy seeing it in the day versus how it was at night a couple of hours later. So with nothing else to do, we thought, hey, why not eat again? We found a very traditional little hole-in-the-wall place that had gimbap and soups. Cobb wasn't particularly impressed to have another soup. There wasn't a lot of other things open. The good thing about this one is it was a hand-cut noodle, so very delicious. I very much am struggling to hold the camera and my chopsticks here. And it was a kimchi, sort of a kimchi stew. It did taste quite different to a lot of the other ones we'd had on our trip, so I think it was worth trying, and the kimbap was absolutely delicious. By this point, it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so we thought we'd have a drink and stick around and see what this crazy nightlife was supposed to be about. If you know any of the recent history about Itaewon, you'll know there's obviously a bit of historical tragedy in this area, which was quite sad to read, and it did sort of hit home to me a little bit being here. But we managed to wait around till night, and it was a beautiful view to just walk around the streets and kind of take it in. Itaewon is a very diverse, multicultural hub for Seoul. So around this area, you're going to find a huge amount of international dining options, and obviously the vibrancy and the nightlife. I guess the drinking culture, a lot of that is what people come here for. Unfortunately, we're a little bit old and we've sort of expired from our party era, but it was still a really enjoyable experience just to bop around. We managed to find the Mexican place I pointed out earlier, and Cobb was definitely due for his international cuisine and already tiring of Korean food, which I will never tire of, but I did cave and we stopped to get a couple of tacos, just sit and relax for a bit and take in the view. Overall, I'd say Itaewon is a place for people who are maybe looking to meet people or find friends in the area. I can see this being similar to like the Valley in Brisbane or something like that.
Okay, thanks for watching our second Seoul vlog. We try to put out a new vlog each week, so if you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye! Thank you and see you in the next one!
Yummy?
It's cold.